Hello again. Right, on the bench today we have a switch mode power supply which is faulty. Story behind this power supply is that last summer I was talking to somebody on 2 meter radio, and he said he had this power supply which had gone faulty and he was just going to basically throw it away or whatever. And so I said, well, what would you want for it if with the postage? He said, oh, just give me 10 quid, he said. Because I thought, you know, I could possibly fix it, keep it as a spare standby one, whatever. Maybe even sell it on eBay, you know, something like that anyway. So he sent it off to me and I sent him a check, and it actually arrived before he got the check, which is quite decent of him to send it so quickly. And it was all in its original box, all nicely packed, and plugged it in the workshop. Didn't connect it to a radio just in case, and it worked perfectly. I stuck a load on it. Probably put about a 10 amp load on it, and it worked absolutely fine, no problems at all. 13.8 volts. So I then thought it was safe to use on my radio for a bit, so I disconnected my power supply and put this one in place, and I used it for about 3 weeks with no problems whatsoever, transmitting and receiving, drawing up to about maybe 15 amps off it, no problems at all. And then I just put it to one side and put my normal power supply back. And then a friend of mine excuse me, needed a power supply, so I lent it to him back in about October, and he used it for a few weeks, up to a few days ago, and then it went faulty again. And the symptoms were the radio wouldn't turn on properly, it would try and turn on and then it would just turn off. So obviously the voltage was dropping on the output. Now at the moment I've got it connected up with no load at all, but it is making a sizzling sort of noise, which is a bit worrying. I think you probably can't hear it, it's very low level, but we look at the voltmeter. It is reading, when I can get the wires probes to connect, 13.8. No problems at all. Now I've got a load in the form of my dummy load, which I use for testing hi-fi amplifiers, and this is basically 2 pairs of 3.9 ohm resistors that are wired up to give 8 ohms to test a stereo amplifier. But at the moment I'm just connecting across the two one of the resistors, so 3.9 ohm load, and I've got one connection on the power supply at the moment. So when you think about it, 13.8 divided by 3.9 ohms is going to be something over, just over 3 amps. So what I'll do now is I'll go back to the voltmeter and connect the other connection, and it's now squealing, and I'm getting, when I can get the wires connected, 6.3 volts. So obviously something's not right, and it's making a hideous squealing noise. So I don't know what to do with it. I'm going to take it apart obviously, and could be capacitors, who knows, could be bad connection, but take it apart, that's the best plan. So here's what it looks like with the top off, and it's fairly complicated by the looks of it. So that's the mains input, which is actually filtered, which is pretty good, because you want to keep all the switch mode harmonics getting back onto the mains obviously. And it's got some more filtering there, common mode choke, and the usual capacitors associated with that. And then it's rectified there, bridge rectifier, the mains, and then you've got your main smoothing capacitors on the main side, and then it'll get chopped up with probably those MOSFETs there, and shoved through the transformer, and then various other circuitry will regulate it. And I can see the cutout between the primary side and the secondary side of the transformer on the circuit board, isolating the main side to the output side. Now, in cases like this, I wish I had a isolation transformer, but I don't. I've never been able to find one cheap enough to buy off eBay. So this doesn't look like it's going to be an easy thing to deal with, because everything's bolted down to the bottom of the case, and I'm going to have to take quite a lot of screws out, and possibly wires as well, to get access to any of the components. I think the first job is, when I can get the board out, is maybe just check these input smoothing capacitors and maybe the output capacitors, which I guess are these two here. So I don't think this is going to be an easy job getting this apart. Oh well, I wonder what that transformer's for. Actually, I don't think it is a transformer. I think it's a choke, because it's only got two wires on it, so it must be a choke. Mains filtering choke, I guess. Anyway, I better get on with this somehow, I suppose. Okay, after a lot of hassle and disconnecting wires and whatever, I've got the circuit board in a position where I can work on it, and it's got two. That was one of my screws just dropped in there somewhere. Anyway, it's got the two filter capacitors on the input, which appear to be wired in series, I think, but whatever, I'm just going to remove them, I think, and I can't really test them in circuit, I don't think, so I'll get them out and just checking for ESR. So I'll just get the soldering iron turned on, and I'm not going to video this because it's not very interesting. Okay, I've got both the main input smoothing capacitors out. I'm testing them at 100 Hz, and I'm getting a reading of 655 microfarads and an ESR of 0.1 ohms, so I don't think there's much wrong with that one. I'll just check the other one. Okay, the other one, 640, what are they supposed to be? 680, it's a bit low, isn't it? ESR 0.1 ohms, I don't think there's much wrong with those capacitors, apart from being a little bit low. I don't know if I can test them on a higher frequency. 640 and 120 Hz. Same. 1 kilohertz, 6.19. Yeah, so they're a bit low, but I don't think it's a major problem that would cause it to stop working. So I could try the other ones, I suppose, which are on the output of the switching transformer. So I'll get them out. Okay, well, I've got the other two out. They're on the secondary side, and they're 4700s at 25 volts. So let's try these. Negative. Yeah, it doesn't like that because it's on 1 kilohertz. So put it on 100 Hertz. 4 millifarads. Sounds reasonable. What's the ESR then? 0.03. I don't think there's much wrong with that one. Let's try the other one. Four millifarads. ESR will be 0.02, yeah, nothing much wrong with that, I don't think. I mean, 4700 is not 4 millifarads, it's 4.7, but you've got to allow tolerance. Oh, Chang brand, that's always a popular Chinese capacitor, or Chong, whatever. I don't know, I haven't got anything like that, so I can't really stick anything else in without ordering. And I'm not sure if it's worth ordering capacitors that may or may not fix the problem. So I'll go on having a look around, I think, on the circuit board, see if there's anything else obvious. So I can't see anything else obviously damaged, burnt, whatever on the circuit board. I've got this diode here, which is on the output of the transformer, and that's measuring 0.14 in one direction. I believe it's a common anode and then two cathodes, something like that. If I reverse that, it's reading 0.13, which is a bit suspect, and the same 0.13 like that, 0.14 like that. But I don't think it's ideal to test it in circuit, so I might drag that Schottky diode out and see what it's like out of circuit. But I'm sure it'll be fine. And it's always difficult with things like this because I've got no information, no circuit diagrams. It's just a matter of luck, really. Then we've got these MOSFETs over here that are covered in boots. Might be worth dragging those out. Oh, they're not MOSFETs. They are 2SC3320. So they're bipolars by the looks of it. And that one's the same. So I think I'll get them out, get the diodes out and check all those. Okay, let's get this diode tested. And it's open circuit that way. 0.2, that's what I'd expect. 0.2 in that direction. And open circuit. Diode's fine. Transistors, that'll be the base on the left. Nothing. 0.45 sounds good. 0.52, interesting. Right, wonder what the other one's like. 0.47, 0.54, I reckon these are fine. So there you go, something else that's not faulty. So where do I go next? I have no idea. So back on this power supply project, which has been extremely frustrating. I've had every electrolytic out of this board and I've tested them all, right down to the tiny little ones, and they all test absolutely fine. That doesn't guarantee they are fine. And also I've had the main switching transistors, which are the ones under maximum stress. I've tested that, took them out of the board, tested them, they all test fine. And the rectifier Schottky diode, there's two Schottky diodes in there for the secondary rectification of the transformer. I've even checked all the little diodes on the board as well, as best I can. Didn't take them out, but they test okay-ish. And I was about to give up on the bloody thing, because I just about had enough of it. And very frustrated that I couldn't fix it, because I could not find anything obviously wrong with it. Checked all the solder joints, they're all fine. And would you believe it, I put it back together and it still whistled with no load on. And then I thought, well, I'll stick a 3 amp load on it, which dropped it to 6 volts, and see what happens. See if anything gets hot. Well, it stopped whistling after a few seconds and the voltage came right back up again. And I've got it on now with my dummy resistor, dummy load, and I've got a 4 ohm load on it, so roughly 3 amps, and resistors are getting mildly warm but not much. And if I go and stick my probes in the back, let's have a look at the voltmeter. 13.8 volts, which is bizarre because it's now working perfectly as far as I can see. So the next stage, I'm going to combine them resistors to get a 1 ohm load, and I'm going to draw about 13.8 amps off it in theory. So I'm going to go ahead and wire that up. Right, so I've now wired it up, so I've got all 4 resistors, 3.9 ohms in parallel. And just to confirm that, I'll stick it on my meter. One ohm, 1.1, whatever. So I'm going to wire that up, and then we'll see what we get. Right, you might as well watch me wire it up. It's turned off still at the moment. Right, switch my meter back to volts, shove the probes in there and turn it on and see if it goes bang. Didn't go bang. What's the meter say? 13.8. So that's drawing 13.8 approximately amps. So bloody probes don't stay in, of course. So it's now working absolutely perfectly, and it's a mystery what's up with this thing. I think the best thing to do is to leave it on with a load on it like this for a few minutes or half an hour. But I'm no further forward really. It's obviously got an intermittent problem, so I don't know. Anyway, I'll get back to you after I've tested it further. So I've had it on about half an hour now, and it's still working fine. Just check the temperatures. So got about 38 degrees on that. Rectifier and 37, it's about normal. And the fan hasn't even come on, so it's obviously not getting that hot on 13 amp load. And if I look at my my dummy load, that's up around 85 degrees, which is what you expect. But that's fine, you can cope with that, no problems. I mean, this is not the ideal way of testing it, because, well, it is the ideal. Oh, fans come on, that's impressive. But anyway, yeah, I haven't, when I took these components off the heatsink, the thermal pads got all fluffy, so I've cleaned off all the fluff, but I haven't put any new thermal grease on it, on the pads, insulation pads, so I'm not getting maximum heat transfer obviously at the moment. But I think what I'll do is I'll do that, and I'll also put this thing, which is the cigarette lighter socket on the front, put that back in and box it all up, and just keep it as a standby. It's obviously an unreliable standby, but I don't know what else to do with it really. Let's check the voltage at the moment, and it's 13.4 because I'm measuring at the resistor rather than on the output, so I'm going to get a bit of volts drop obviously. But back to this, if anybody's got any ideas about switch mode power supplies, because they really are the work of the devil, and let me know in the comments on what it could possibly be wrong with it. But I don't suppose anybody else has got any ideas on it, and I don't suppose this video will get many views as usual. So bye for now.